Come see us on tour in Dallas, Austin, Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, New York, Atlantic City, Levittown, Cohoes, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for the link for the cheapest tickets. So Jon Stewart is once again playing heads on his flipping coin of his career these days. He's decided to tell you how crazy the Democrats are being in response to Trump's first 2 weeks in office.
He noticed?
Even Jon Stewart noticed. Isn't that amazing?
Whoa.
Of course, they're going to make him pay for doing this by, doing real estate ads for Gaza with Ben Stiller. Hi, I'm Ben Stiller, and if there's one thing I know, it's that I'm no simple jack when it comes to property investments. So it says, there's the headline from The Wrap. Jon Stewart defends Trump against fascist claims. What would you effing do, he says. So it has become fairly routine for Democrats to liken President Donald, this is from The Wrap, from the President Trump's actions over the last week to fascism. Of course, that's it. That's a fascist. He's doing fascism things. You mean the guy who was elected to, okay. You mean he's doing an audit? Yeah, fascist. Audits are fascists. And the Daily Show host, Jon Stewart, for one, is sick of it. He's sick of the Democrats calling Trump a fascist. The Comedy Central host went on to criticize the political left for yelling fascist, calling it almost a reflex. Almost?
Almost.
Almost. Stewart ended his opening monologue by telling Democrats to ask better questions than, how dare he? The question should be, what are you learning from this? How would you use this power, the power that Trump's using? Trump's using his power of the presidency, the power that he's given. Stewart said, it's enough with the he is a Hitler. Stop doing that. What would you effing do if you had the presidency? Okay. So, and first of all, John, they can't stop doing that. You know the Democrats can't stop doing the how dare you, and they can't stop calling him a fascist. Secondly, you know what they would do if they had Trump's power. You watch them do it. They made everyone take experimental medical treatments. They locked us down. They closed people's businesses. They started they ended a war in the worst way possible and started another war.
They charge him with a felony for selling his house the Jon Stewart way.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what they did. And then they prosecuted their political opponents. That's what they did when they had that power. What would you do? That's what they did. You saw them do it over the last 4 years. You know damn well what they would do. They used the power of the FBI to sic 5,000 of their agents on a political movement to disband it and discredit it and criminalize it. That's what they did. You know damn well what they would do.
Oh, you know what they do? They would prize someone who never tells you what they actually think, like Kamala Harris, and look at someone who tells you what they think, like they're the scum of the earth. That's what they would do. Like they really admire Kamala, never saying what she thinks.
But this is the cycle we find ourselves in. First law of Trumpodynamics. Every action is met with a very not equal overreaction.
These pardons are sick. They are offensive.
So this is when Trump was giving out pardons. They were like, these are sick. Right? Remember that? But then when Biden did
why? They weren't preemptive?
They are un-American.
This is one of the most egregious, despicable acts in American history.
This is textbook authoritarian takeover 101.
I knew I should have taken that class. And not majored in submissive liberal crying 101.
So they're talking about Trump giving pardons to the January 6th people. Oh, my God. Yeah.
You hear what John said, the last thing? I should have taken that instead of submissive liberal crying, which is like funny because it's true. He did take that. They all took it.
He did take that. Anyway.
Majored in submissive liberal crying 101. Is it an abuse of pardon power? I don't know. But that is his constitutional power. Again, for some reason, we have given presidents the power of a king. And then we say, oh, by the way, look at that power. You're not going to get all like kingly and shit on us, right?
That's part-time host and occasional funny man Jon Stewart calling out Democrats and establishment media for their incessant hypocrisy and fear-mongering about Donald Trump and the Republicans. Welcome to Nerd News. I'm Nurkish, and it looks like it's one of those rare times when the left goes so far that...
No, this isn't Nerdrotic. This is Nerd News.
Even liberals like Jon Stewart are forced to point out their lies, which have been almost too many to count since the start of President Trump's second term. Here's Stewart slamming top Democrats in the media for doing the only thing they know how to do: try to terrify Americans into doing what they want them to.
The return to 1600 Trumpylvania Avenue was as disorienting and chaotic as I imagined. But then we had a weekend. Serenity now. And we can finally catch our breath, begin to move forward with intentionality. Namaste.
Friday night massacre.
Late Friday night purge. A chilling purge.
The purge.
Ah! Trump has ushered in the purge! I, for one, will take full advantage. Although, just in case I'm misinterpreting, what is this purge about exactly?
Breaking news, the mass firing of government agency watchdogs.
Trump fired at least 17 inspectors general.
No! He got rid of 17 inspectors general. That only leaves no one knows how many left. I have no idea. What Trump did violated the law. He can't just fire these people.
Title 5, Section 403 of the U.S. Code, federal law, an inspector general may be removed by the president.
What? So what's the purge? What's the why do I have an axe?
There is a specific law that requires notice, 30 days, and a statement of reasons, substantive and detailed rationale.
What? I'm sorry, what? Oh, apparently you can fire them, but you have to give them 30 days notice. Oh, so that's what we're upset about? No! You can do it, but not in that font! That's Hitler's font!
You know, just like Bill Maher, Stewart only seems to see the problems of big government when a member of the opposing party is holding office. I mean, kudos to him for acknowledging it, but the expansion of executive power has been something conservatives have been complaining about for decades. None of this should come as a surprise because it's no secret that Democrats have no impulse control and can't delay gratification. I mean, this wouldn't be the first time that they've done something for short-term gain that later bit them in the butt when Republicans took power and wielded it against them.
Look, we are facing a deluge of these executive actions, and certainly we must be prepared for those most vulnerable to the consequences of these actions. But the "this is all fascist" argument has become almost a reflex for the left.
Donald Trump promised.
Jon Stewart is just noticing this now. This would have been a great segment, I don't know, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
He's just noticing this now. Man, this would have been really timely in, I don't know, 2019. The Democrats cry Hitler too much, Kurt. Really? This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, what?
Jon Stewart's telling me this in February 2025. The Democrats cry Hitler too much. I didn't know that.
Hey, do we have to call them Hitler a fascist because the Ukrainians are using the word Nazi and we don't want to mix them up with Hitler?
I think so. Hey,
he's a Nazi, not a fascist.
I mean, how does Jon Stewart put all this together after hanging a medal on a legit Nazi?
How do you not put it together, you mean?
Yeah, how do you not say, wow, Democrats are full of shit with the Nazi alarms?
Yeah, it doesn't dawn on you. Like, look, that can happen to anybody. Somebody says, come to Disneyland, hang a medal on this Nazi, and Mickey Mouse is there. You don't know what you're doing. They cover his elbow with the Himmler tattoo. But then when you find out about it later, because people brought it up, and I know it got back to you.
Of course, it got brought up on...
Hey, you know what? Shut up about Nazis forever, you fucking... Never bring up Nazis ever again after that, you know?
To be a dictator on day one, and he's carried that forward through the entire week.
5 days into this administration, the abuse is already rampant.
On a fascism scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being peak fascism, how would you rate Trump's first week?
On a scale of Mussolini to the Holocaust. I would say it's not fascism. Do I not understand what fascism is? Republicans control the House, the Senate, the executive, and the judiciary. And just about every move that has been made till this point, we have granted them electorally. It's our fault. And the constant it's just our fault. And the constant drumbeat of encroaching fascism will erode the credibility we will need hopefully if, and not when, it hits. But the truth is that for now, his most objectionable actions have taken place almost entirely within our designed democratic system. There was no authoritarian end run.
So what he's saying is, you're wrecking your credibility by calling Trump a fascist and Hitler all the time when he's just doing stuff that he's actually democratically elected to do, and he's using democracy. And if you keep doing that, if Trump ever does do something fascistic and Hitler-like, you won't have any credibility to call him. So he's saying you're the boy who cried wolf. So I'll give credit to Jon Stewart for at least saying this now. Just like, Piers Morgan, who now admits that he got COVID vaccines wrong, right? I'll give them credit. Most people won't. Most people won't do what he's doing. So I'll give him credit. I'm going to give him credit.
What do you mean if it get? He didn't say if Trump becomes fascist. He said if it gets to that. If it gets to that, you don't remember lockdowns and all the mandatory experimental gene therapy?
Right. It
got to that, friend. It got to that.
Well, that's what I tried to tell Cornel West when he was on the show. He goes,
he's lying on purpose.
We could get here. Fascism could come if Trump. What do you mean could come? You're living in it. You've been living through it. What are you talking about?
Liked it.
They're censoring the leading doctors, the leading journalists, the leading scientists. They're censoring them. Hallmark of fascism. They're forcing experimental medical treatment. They're locking people in their house. You're living through it.
Oh, also, it turns out USAID was paying for all the wokeness and everything that everyone hates.
That's right.
That's the CIA. So that's called fascist. What is not fascist about that?
What is not fascist about that? You're right. And so, I mean, Jon Stewart he's a nice guy who got bitten by a werewolf. That's what it seems like. And he's like your trusted and true friend, except for that one day a month. And this is it. He's turning on his shit-lib friends. Again.
He's submissive. He's a submissive liberal. That's what that joke at the top was. And it's true. And they're all submissive liberals. And for the last 10 years, they've been like, man, you toxic. You got to be more submissive to nonsense. And be like, well, I'm guilty as a man. All that bullshit. And liberal dipshits just went all in on that. Most of them are bigger predators than anybody on the right, too, by the way.
Man, he's right that the Democrats do. They are just crybabies and they suck at actual fighting. They were culturally designed to make everyone who isn't exactly like them hate them.
If you can't see that you're a human psyop when you're like that, your hair's an ugly color and you're a gender blob and you're unpleasant to be around, you don't see they made you into a bioweapon on purpose to get more control?
So Jon Stewart's got more to say. He's doing a good job. I've got to give it to him.
No royal edicts. This happened to us as designed.
I've got to admit that it is a little funny how the party that claimed to love and protect democracy can't seem to handle the system working as intended. I mean, it's just like Stewart pointed out. Despite all their hysterics about Trump being a threat to democracy, it was their beloved system that got him elected and allowed him to wield so much power, which puts Democrats in a weird situation where they need to crap or get off the pot. Because at the end of the day, it's either Stewart is right and the system is healthy and working as intended, or it's so flawed and has been from its inception that its own mechanisms led to its inevitable downfall, which raises the question of why use the system in the first place. And call me crazy, but I think based on everything they've been expressing, Democrats are going to lean towards choosing the latter. But let me know what you think. Which direction will the left move in the next 4 years? Will they drop the act and reluctantly accept that our system of government is fine, or once and for all admit that they want to scrap the whole thing entirely?
So great job by Nurk News, whatever Nurk means, but I think he did.
Nurkish?
Yes. I mean, the Democrats, they have to stop with, did you know that Donald Trump eats ham for breakfast? You know who else did? Hitler!
Yeah. You know, the Nazis were really good on cruelty to animals, like, you know, in a way that's worse considering their human treatment, but you don't like cruelty to animals, right? Like, we don't throw that concept away because Hitler said be nice to dogs.
That's right.
You can still be nice to dogs.
Well, I have a feeling that the reason why most shit libs rescue animals is because animals can't tell you what it's like living in a house with them every day.
I agree. It's like a entourage. You see a lot of like old crazy actors do it. They get a dog and that's like Turtle in their entourage.
Hey, Stalin liked his tea hot too. So does Trump.
That's adjacent to fascism. Note for Nurkish, you could shadow yourself in the thing all you want, but I'm going to spot you from your voice and ears and hair in when I see you. Do you know what I mean? You're not really hiding your identity that well. Like, I know I'm going to hear that voice and see the ears and hair. And I'm just saying, like, you know, maybe get a...
So even Jon Stewart cannot bite his tongue with the reaction to Trump's first 2 weeks. Even Jon Stewart can.
Or look into what's really going on with such as the deporting of the sex slaves that were allowed to come in because of scumbag Democrats. Why don't you do a little research, John? The thing they tell you not to do, because you're the guy. You're the middle car of the human centipede of news to shit libs. They're the caboose. So why don't you attach your lips to just a little bit better of an ass and digest that information for your viewers? You know?
I just can't get over that Democrats won't stop watching corporate news, and they won't stop being, so they'll never stop being propagandized.
Remember the thing of, I just want to hear just tell me something bad about Trump. I just want to hear something bad about Trump.
Yeah. Yes. I remember comedians getting on stage saying that.
There you go. There's the driving force. Why would anyone, unless the thing they're addicted to is so specific, like the nectar they need, is someone saying Trump's bad? And they become addicted to it like Diet Coke.
I saw comedians that I enjoy and like and respect get on stage when Trump got elected and talk about how they like to turn on MSNBC. Just tell me something bad about Trump. I don't care what it is. You know what that immediately...
Oh, get some dick.
You know what that immediately made me think of? Was George Orwell's 5 Minutes of Hate. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is.
In 1984, they said how they repress your sexual energy so it could be put towards the 5-minute hate.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it. Not getting no dick so you could sit there and be mad and when they tell you to hate.
Good on Jon Stewart. Today, he's the good werewolf today.
Hey, you know what? Candace Owens, who I was not a fan of before, I've become a big fan of because I watched her look into stuff.
Yes.
That's all I ask. Look into it, and then I want to hear that you learned something new, and then I can learn something. I already know this, Jon Stewart. What was this stuff from like when I first met you, we were saying? You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, The Daily Show. So you're only, 10 years behind the 8 ball on this?
I know.
Well, that's good, honey. I guess I'll treat you like a special student.
Hey, you've all heard about Amra colostrum by now. It's actually good for you. I looked it up. It's been the best kept secret of industry insiders for a while, but word is finally getting out, and for good reason. Amra colostrum is everywhere these days. When I first heard about it, I thought it was almost too good to be true. That's true. Thousands and thousands of people reporting absolutely transformational health benefits, tens of thousands of 5-star reviews, and life-changing stories. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, and it's an exclusive source of all the essential nutrients we need in order to thrive. Amra colostrum is a bioactive whole food with 400 plus functional nutrients like antibodies, antioxidants, micronutrients, and minerals. It's been known to strengthen immunity, to improve gut health, to ignite metabolism, among other benefits. Amra colostrum is cruelty-free and only uses surplus colostrum from grass-fed cows that would otherwise be waste produce. It's a win-win. We've worked out a special offer for my audience. Receive 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra.com/Jimmy or enter Jimmy to get 15% off your first order. That's tryarmra.com/Jimmy. Come see us on tour in Dallas, Austin, Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, New York, Atlantic City, Levittown, Cohoes, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for the link for the cheapest tickets.